What up, guys? We back at it with another episode of Timeless Podcast with myself, Nair, Denny, and Meldon. Before we start this episode, please subscribe, like, follow us on Instagram, all that. Today we got Black Market, and I'll throw it to him to introduce himself.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Black Market, producer, studio owner. I don't know if I should give my government. My birthday's this month, 27th. Holler at me.
What's the studio name?
Nameless Faceless Recording Studio, NF Record Studio.
Here in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Yeah, right here in Bowling Green. We were downtown, East 10th, 410th Avenue, right across from the sheriff's office. Probably not the best place to be for a studio. But we made it shake for about 2 years, and then 2 or 3 years since 2016, and then we moved the studio over August. I guess you could say it was on our anniversary of opening the studio. We moved the studio to a new location, bigger location. So we got opportunity to open 2 studios now, or 2 rooms within the studio. So yeah. They're going to be kind of independent. I'm going to take one of the studios and turn it over to one of my engineers who's been real loyal, faithful, good engineer. Let him do his business out of there. But yeah, we've been there since August.
Is this what you do full time?
Yep, that's what I do.
Just make music.
Yep, I've been doing it I've been full time for since 2016, and then I learned how to engineer from church when I was younger. Yeah, I went to church when I was younger. I mixed on a big live board. I mixed a lot of live sound. So we worked with a little bit of software. I knew how to use Pro Tools and that kind of stuff. But I've been musician, engineering, everything for like 15 years.
So what's the best thing you're good at? Like producing? What's the actual thing you
probably engineering, to be real. Yeah.
And for the people that don't know, because there's a lot of people that kind of watch our podcast from just because they just like watch it. Yeah. So like, what's engineering in music? Like, yeah. What is it exactly?
So engineering and music, essentially what you're doing is basic part, knowing how to edit, knowing how to put together certain material, make it sound clear. So if you got 2 different sides of the audio engineering house. You have like live sound. They got their subcategories. They have to understand room tone, big room tones, and that kind of thing for like concerts and that kind of stuff. You got small studio engineers, which is what we would be considered. And then you have, under that category, you have like people recording audiobooks, recording music, commercials, that kind of thing. And they each have their own like resolution of sound. You know, we focus mainly on music. I have done like some commercials and that kind of thing, and it's normally just like dry sound. But we focus mainly on music, and that side of it, it's engineer plays a big role in bringing the songs to life, basically. So they collaborate almost like a producer. They collaborate with the artist in creating a particular atmosphere within the song. But you also have different types of engineers. You have just tracking engineers. They're basically the dudes that go in and put a little bit of effects on the vocals, whatever direction they see it going. And they hit the record button. That's pretty much it. And then they send it over to the mastering engineer. Mastering engineers have a much more like wide range of knowledge when it comes to putting together a song and creating that atmosphere. Yeah.
That's kind of like you're just kind of fine tuning everything too.
Pretty much, yeah.
Make everything sound straight.
Make it crispy.
Yeah, exactly.
Where did you back to the studio? Where did you come up with the name? Like what?
Nameless
Faceless. What's behind it? Yeah.
So, basically, it came from humility. You know, I played. I've been on stage. I traveled with a gospel band. We did little tours and that kind of thing. And I like being on stage. I'm comfortable on stage. It doesn't really like give me jitters or anything like that, like most people. But it's not really my passion. My passion was like the quality of sound and like creating the actual, music. So, yeah.
So, would you say you're kind of like the main guy here in Bowling Green, for all the upcoming artists to
I'd
work
like
with,
to.
or
Right now?
Yeah, I'd like to. Still maintaining that humility. You know, we try to provide genuine customer service. So like when you come in, like your family, you know what I mean? You respect the business. We respect you. You grow with us, we grow with you.
Mm-hmm.
And it always turns out to be, you know, we always have good partnerships, good friendships and stuff that we build within the. So I think focusing around that and just being genuine dudes and creating good quality music has turned us into the studio that's been able to stick around. You know, there's been 3 other studios. I will say TM Studios.
Okay.
Shout out Maxi. His studio had to shut down for unforeseen circumstances. The other studios kind of shut down because
Weren't
they
as
just
good.
weren't
Yeah.
doing what they were supposed to be doing.
So somebody that's looking into like opening up a studio or anything like that, what's the main things you would say to differentiate and keep the business running?
It's all in how you treat people. In this industry, you're working with creative people, right?
Yeah.
Creative people are, for one thing, very insecure.
Yeah.
And they might not be insecure about the personal life, that
Yeah.
kind of thing, but all creative people are insecure about their art. I mean, there's not one single person that hasn't in the creative field that hasn't questioned what they made. Are people going to like this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when it comes down to working with an artist, and me as I'm an artist as well, you know, making instrumentals and, you know, painting a picture in my mixing software, basically, you know, for the song. I think when you have that relationship and understanding between, like, relationships grow. So that's really what I would focus on when you open a studio. Of course, you know, making sure you have a wide knowledge base. Equipment is not necessarily everything.
Really?
When it comes to recording, knowledge of you know, chain and music theory and that kind of thing is really what helps in creating good quality music. Equipment, of course, is important, but it's not as important as everything else.
How do you differentiate, like, sorry for cutting you off, but how do you differentiate, like, let's say somebody comes into the studio and wants to record something for one session, and it's you're engineering or you're helping them do it, and they're like straight rap, like Eminem flow.
Yeah.
And then you have somebody like Yasko, he comes in, he's a whole different genre, whole
Yeah.
different. How does your mind kind of click into a whole different rhythm?
Man, well, I think it has a lot to do with my personality. And I've reflected on that before, like how I'm able to step into different roles with artists and pick up their flow, pick up their energy. I think that goes back to my dad was in the military. We traveled around a bunch. Never, you know, I didn't grow up in a place where I had friends for a long time, so I was always constantly making friends. I think being able to jump into any kind of scene has helped out a lot with that. And I was in the military for 12 years, National Guard in Kentucky, so I got to travel around a bunch, see different cultures. I think that's really what it is, just being open to different energies and challenging yourself. Really, I mean, this industry can put a lot of stress on you, and if you're not willing to jump into it and just challenge yourself to do something, you're not gonna make it. So I think sitting down with an artist and really helping them define their vision, that's really where I get the idea of where they want to go with it. So it makes it easy to kind of jump into whatever they're trying to do.
Do you feel as an engineer also that you can, like, nowadays, I mean, it's less talent, not really less talent, but like, do you feel like anybody can come in there and make a good song if they're put in the right direction?
Kind of and kind of not. So in the music industry, you have to have a drop of talent. You know, we were talking about this the other day, me and Steve.
Yeah.
You can be an amazing charismatic talent, right? And have such a grasp on people, and that will ignite your career, right? And then you could be amazing businessman and have shitty music.
Yeah.
and you still have an amazing career, like Riff Raff. I want to say his music is shitty. So I don't want no beef with Riff Raff.
It's different. We'll put it that way. It's
no,
different.
I mean he if you've ever watched anything that he's done as far as anything personal he's talked about in interviews and all that kind of stuff, he grew up rough, and I think that makes a lot of people too. When you really want to get out of that place and want to be successful, you can either succumb to your circumstances or you can grow out of it. He grew out of it. He invested into a lot of different things, Monster, a lot of different brands, and made his career off that. Still, people are calling him to book shows and that kind of thing because his personality is wild.
For sure.
He's got a gimmick. He's got, but he's one of those dudes that is not necessarily heavily talented musician.
Yeah, I agree.
But he's got such a good business mind that.
That's what I was trying to get to is like if you have the right engineering and the right marketing, I feel like you can blow up in any circumstance. Like given those like Riff Raff and people like that, it's just crazy what you can do.
Mm-hmm. You can. You got a ton of kids on Instagram that, like what's his name, Lil Esco.
Lil Esco.
Lil Esco.
The kid is blowing up now off the hot. I'ma fuck with you,
bro.
Oh,
I don't even know what's going on, but so many people comment on his stuff, like, bro, like,
for nothing.
Yeah.
It was off one video, and it just
fuck with you,
and I see his like the charisma there, and that's really what it is. If you got confidence, and it just draws people in. It does, and it's a younger culture, so like. If you're out there,
I mean, social media kind of rules the world, though.
Yeah,
it really does. It's changed things a lot.
Switching up, kind of off the actual engineering and all that. One thing I wanted to talk about is there's a lot of people out there that don't. They have a passion for music. I want you to kind of explain the way you can make music a career or anything you want to do a career, rather than. How'd you do it? Like, did you go from did you do it 9 to 5 every day and then do it on the side until you began gaining traction? So, like, how did that go along in your journey?
So like I said, I was in the military, came back from basic 2006, went to U of L. I was just kind of like a basic musician, made some beats, played guitar. I was trying to fit into a different mold, trying to do the college route. And hated U of L. Came back, worked on Fort Knox as like a civilian contractor with a unit, an Army unit, and did some logistics. And during that time, I was like partying and waking up at 5 and going to work at 7. And, like it was a bad time, and things were kind of like falling apart. Mentally for me, in a sense, because I really didn't know where I was gonna go. So, I had a friend call me, said, "Come down to this is 2008." He said, "Bro, come down to Western." Came down to Western, got involved with a bunch of dudes who did music, and some of them are still doing music and are successful in that down in Nashville. Some of them went on to do other things, but I started recording out of a little 2-bedroom house. We were just messing around. We didn't do anything. We didn't do anything crazy. We didn't make any like heavy songs. From there, I really started to like where I was going with it, and it was just kind of like I did have that 9 to 5. I was in college. I was at Western, so I was, that was kind of like a release for me. And then a couple years down the road, I ran into a guy named Skyler. Told him to come to my house and record him for $20 a song. We started making some really good projects. He started referring other people, gained some traction from there. Learned as I go, kept an open mind with the artists. Like, hey, can we try doing something like this? They would say that to me, and I'm like, I don't know how to do that, but you know what?
Let's try it.
Let's figure it out.
What was the equipment you had? Like,
I was still using Logic Pro. I think I was using Logic Pro 9. I had a little tiny interface. Starting out, I had a USB mic. CAD USB mic was terrible. But it was just kind of like getting my bearings when I did that. But I had a few other little pieces of equipment. I had some Yamaha 5s, and I kept those for a long time. Even when I opened the studio downtown 3 years ago, I had those 5s, and then just continued to upgrade from there and grow the studio from there. But I had such a good traction and people coming through my house that I was able to kind of near the time of opening the studio, I had a client list. You know, I had a lot of people that could transition over to doing this full time. So, I had 3 different houses that I recorded in, basically. One house, we took the whole living room and turned it into a studio. So,
sweet.
Yeah, the grind was real. I was selling cars. I worked at Best Buy. I worked at Doctor's Value Vision. I worked
everywhere.
What motivated you to take the leap, like into this full-time studio and signing that first lease?
My girl don't like me talking about this, but it's motivational.
Yeah.
So I was supposed to be married in 2016, August of 2016, the same month that I opened the studio, and I'm not gonna say anything bad about her, but things just fell apart. It was real painful time. I was still trying to find myself, so it was more personally. It wasn't so much her, but it was kind of like that situation helped me realize where I wanted to go in life, and I was so done with me just kind of like, you know, moving, just coasting along.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I got to do something.
Yeah.
I spent $10,000 on a wedding, like parents involved. We had everything booked, everything, man. Everything was set to go, and called it off. And I was like, you know what? I'm taking all that bad energy and I'm putting it into this, and that's really what ignited everything.
I think those hard times kind of help make who you are, though.
Oh
too.
yeah, 100%.
Definitely produce some gems out of those.
Breakdowns create breakthroughs.
It started when I guess that kind of like fire started when I came back from deployment, just being overseas and being involved in the things I was involved in, and that kind of ignited that, and then I started to build that confidence in what I wanted to do, and then when that happened, it was like, okay, it's time, you know. So
those first couple months when you first opened, was there any doubt or anything like that?
100%.
Yeah.
Yes, I slept on my couch in the studio for 2 weeks.
That's
like,
wild.
Yeah.
Did you not have a place, or you just
I was in and out. I was in and out of a place. It was a little rough because, and not anything financially. I'd saved up enough money from selling cars that I could transition over, and what it was, like, I had some roommates and things were kind of going sour at the house, and people were doing things in the house I didn't want to be a part of, and you know, a bunch of other circumstances, and I basically was like, I put all my shit in a storage unit, slept on my couch for a little bit.
Sleep where you work.
So would you say, like, for the people that are trying to go somewhere, basically find the right people to be around as well?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you're
100%.
with people like that all the time, you're going to get caught up in that, and you're really going to stay in that same circle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that painful period, like, it really separated me from a lot of people. It showed me, like, who was going to be there when I was down at that moment. And I was like, you know what? If I'm doing this, it's all me.
Yeah.
You know, I can't. This is what it's got to be. So that's really what pushed it over the edge. Is, you know, stop fucking with other people. And
did you lose a lot of support when you started your own business? Because I know, like, me, I started a auto shop like a long time ago. It was like 3 years ago, and well, not a long time ago, but I started it, and people say they won't fuck with you. You know, start it. I'll help you. I'll take all my shit there. I'll do it, all that. And then when you actually open it,
It's a different story.
you see who the hell's coming in, and it's like, everybody drops off.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that people don't see in the business side is don't build a business off your friends, pretty much.
Yeah, no.
Kind of build different relationships while you're at it and expect that shit.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, there were a few people that were like, man, throw me some deals, whatever. You know, I've been fucking with you for a long time, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I kind of had to stand my ground, but I tried to maintain that humility and kindness with it as well. So I tell them, like, hey, look, you know, this is what we've been trying to get to, right? So if you support this, then you'll support me doing this. And by doing that, like, you'll pay me. Now, I will have deals. I'll have studio deals, and you can come through and do that. And, you know, for the first, like, couple months, I gave people the original price. I was doing $30 an hour before I opened the studio at my house, and it was some leniency, you know, because I might have like 1 or 2 sessions a night.
Yeah.
Some of them would show up late. But how I transitioned was I just kind of told everybody, hey, we're getting into a professional mind state with this business. I'm opening an actual commercial location. You know, everybody, let's move into this and get better sound quality in Bowling Green. And a lot of people were with it. Some people were kind of iffy. Some people dropped off but ended up coming back, and they were like, man, we didn't know you were doing all this, you know, kind of thing. But I think just keeping that focus and that vision, that tunnel vision, and kind of like swimming through the bullshit.
Yeah, people don't realize that, like, when you open something, your own business, people try to get the deals and
right
shit.
Away,
like, you got to realize, like, I'm paying my bills with this shit. Like, this is my job. This ain't, like, friends type shit.
Yeah, and there's definitely ways to make them realize that. Even still, I get dudes that you just have to be confident in your value. That's really what it comes down to.
I feel like confidence takes you a long way in anything. It's just,
you know your value. You know where,
for sure.
You know what you're worth. Like, you hit them with that, hey, man, I can't do that. Yeah. Okay, cool. And most of the time they respect it.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, can you toss me blah, blah, blah. Like, I can't do that, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I feel you.
Know, when I have some deals next month, maybe we can work something out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is just a PSA for everybody. If you got a friend with a business, don't ask for deals like that, man.
Yeah, for sure. For real.
It puts us in a hard place. It puts anybody in a hard place. If you want to support all the way.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah, and I'm more likely to throw somebody a deal that doesn't ask.
Yeah.
That is true.
Legit.
I think anybody's like that. It's just like.
Yeah, if you come in and I see you working hard and I see you, like, pushing yourself and, you know, we've built a good relationship. Hey, bro, like, Trap
up next.
We were working yesterday. He's shooting some stuff for me today for a session. You know what I mean? So that kind of stuff, trade value, that, and then also, like, I think I threw him some hours for Christmas. Yeah. Because we have some projects that we're working on, and I really fuck with everything he's doing.
Yeah.
So help him out that way. There's other artists that I've done the same thing with. So
and you're always gonna fuck with you. Like, you notice those kind of little things people do. You see them stopping by the studio, seeing what's up, or just anything really. Like, even for us, like, I notice everybody likes pictures consistently, like on our Instagram, all that
true.
stuff. I notice everything
like
that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely doesn't go
Believe me,
unnoticed.
we know.
So how do you deal with having a studio? Do you ever deal with, like, competition? Not with, like, other studios, but, like, with actual rappers that come in or artists. Have you ever had some kind of competition or?
It's like a silent competition.
Really?
Yeah. Nobody ever really speaks on each other too much unless they got, like, a real issue.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're in the South, so, you know, your opinions are always on a person are always outside of the room.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
nobody ever confronts anybody and says, "Hey, bro, I don't like the way that you're doing shit." You know what I mean?
You think
they always go to their friend like, "I don't like the way he does shit." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes we get artists that come in and they're like, "Yeah, he's all right. Like, I don't really fuck with him," and it's kind of like one of those things, like
a little shade.
Yeah, a little bit of shade. I'm like, all right,
you doing whatever over there.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it's I think some of that is healthy, but at the same time, when you're not anything, and you're talking shit, like,
I think that's a big thing.
Like
do you think it would help? I guess artists around here if they would actually collab more instead of doing
they would actually
like
work
that.
together.
Yeah, collaboration, and just I think true love. Everybody's trying to get to a check, man.
Yeah,
that's true.
And that's really what it comes down to. Like, I wouldn't say everybody, but you know, your majority is they see this lifestyle and they don't understand that it's not necessarily a lifestyle. It's an entertainment.
Yeah.
So, like, nobody in real life, if they don't have a camera on them, goes and just throws money in the street.
Agreed.
Like, you know what I mean? That's entertainment. And when you see through that, and you don't build your lifestyle around that, you can do a lot.
It's a lot easier too.
It's a game. That's really all it is. It's a game. It's entertainment.
Let me take the kind of that narrative and switch it up a little bit.
Sure.
That you can relate to as well. How do you take constructive criticism? Because, like, do people come in and, like, let's say, like, I do something and you like, it takes a lot of courage for somebody. Like if I'm doing something and you engineer it, you make it sound a different way, and somebody says, "Man, hold on, that don't sound right."
Yeah.
Like what's the feedback you give on that? Are you one of those people that get hurt, or is it wrong to?
No, because most of the time it doesn't really have anything to do with like mix or anything like that. But also like, at first I would say I was hurt because I was still trying to build up the business. Not necessarily hurt, but it was kind of like insecurity. Like, dang, what did I do wrong? Kind of thing. But now it's to the point where it's like, okay, well, send me a reference track. Show me what you want it to sound like, and we can get it there, But honestly, like, I pick up on flow and vibe pretty heavily. I mean, there's been times me and Steve have been in the studio, he's like, I don't like that drop.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Okay, bet, cool, bring it back. It doesn't bother me because I'm collabing with him. You know what I mean? I have to respect his side of it too. It's their song, so at that point, I'm kind of like, it doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
I want all parties to like what's going on. When it comes to the mixing side of it, I'm confident in the fact that I know I create good quality sound. I mean, we've been here for 3 years. We got consistent business. So
something's working.
Something's working.
Yeah, I think people that are trying to be rappers, be anything in life, I think constructive criticism is something that people get wrong. They get mad. We're grown men. If you tell me I'm not good, like podcast, I hate when people come up to me and say like, your shit flawless. Like, no, tell me something that sucks. Like, tell me what sucks in it, because I get more from that than you telling me everything's perfect and you're just coasting on, just keeping it.
Yeah, I try to grow daily, and sometimes there's things that artists will tell me, and I'm like, damn. Even still, I'm like, I don't know what to do about this, and I kind of create a challenge within myself. Okay, like, we're gonna make this shit shake no matter what. So it's nice. That's I wouldn't be here if I didn't have constructive criticism. Yeah. If I didn't sit with the artist and was open with the artist, and they didn't tell me like, no, bro, I don't like that. Most of them come to me if they don't like something. They just tell me flat out like, hey, I don't like this part. I'm like, cool. What can we do to fix it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have days that you're like not really on your game, like not as creative, not as?
And what put you through those?
Yeah. What helps you like
what put you through those days?
I think just really diving in, just jumping into the mix and letting go. I kind of have this thing where I come to the studio. I get to the studio early before my sessions. I try to get there like 15 minutes early. I'll sit down, play the piano, watch a new music video that released that day, something to get my mind into that mode. And sometimes like I'm still affected while I'm working, but I have this thing where I set my feet almost like meditation. Like I just ground myself, feel, focus on from my toes all the way up to my head, and just kind of like let
take
it kind of
in.
Yeah, basically let all that negative out. Yeah. And just kind of focus on that, and then it's kind of just like a moment. Just sit down, you kind of flesh everything out, you focus on what you're doing, and I can jump into that pretty easy. So, but there's days where I don't feel as creative, and that's okay, because my knowledge base, as far as what people want when I do instrumentals or engineer, that kind of thing, that kind of is like the backup generator.
Yeah.
So.
And one question we had a lot from a lot of our friends, a lot of people in general, is could you go through what you need to start a studio? Not really like a top-notch commercial studio. Like, let's say I want to get in the rap game, I want to produce, I want to do that. Like, what are the basics? What programs do you use and all that? If you don't mind kind of going through the rundown of that.
Sure. Some industry standards as far as audio engineering, Ableton, Pro Tools, Logic Pro X. We use Logic Pro X. We use Machine and FL Studio. FL Studio for producing, Native Instruments Machine for producing, and that's like the big beat pad that you saw in the studio. And then Logic for, slight producing, because there's some good instruments and stuff there. Slight producing, mostly engineering, and then on the engineering side of it is your plugins. Logic has some nice stock plugins, but we use a lot of third-party stuff and build chains off of that. As far as like getting into the game, I tell this to people a lot, and I'll start on this topic. Going to school isn't going to give you the drive. This is a creative industry. Nobody can teach you how to be creative. You have to find that within yourself. That's your own personal art. So you have to have that drive first to be able to want to do it. I mean, there's guys that are trained engineers, and there's guys who aren't trained engineers, and these guys who aren't trained engineers are outshining the trained engineers sometimes. You got some of these younger guys who stay down with an artist, or a producer that stays down with an artist and really builds them up, and most of the time, like, some of them don't even know what they're doing, and next thing you know, they're on Deconstructed, you know, showing how they breaking down a hit record, you know, like, how did that shit happen? So don't let school be an avenue to find your creativity. I'll say that. If you have the drive to do it, start out with simple software. Logic Pro is $300. It's got good plugins. I mean, you can start with GarageBand, to be real. It's got some good stuff in there to get you kind of started. And then there's free software called Reaper that you can download if you have a PC. If you don't have a Mac, you can download that. Practice. Just get in and practice. Reference songs. Make sure that you have your knowledge base down. Like, understanding that you have to put, chain of plugins in order to get a certain sound. And then from there, like, start building up. Once you have that knowledge base, bring somebody in who does music. Make some beats for them, grow with them, right? Learn from your experience with working with that artist. Apply that to maybe some other people that come through. Start growing your market a little bit more. Don't start off like trying to be brand heavy, because you're still establishing your sound as a studio. A lot of studios have their own sound, and they have their own way of mixing, and they have their own way of, bringing color to songs, and helping artists. So I would say don't focus on brand so heavily in the beginning, because your brand will grow with the customers that you bring in. They're going to speak on your brand. Word of mouth is huge.
Yeah, I agree. In any business.
Still bigger than social media, I think.
Yeah.
And from there, just treat people with respect and kindness, and be open to what they want to do, because ultimately you're not, the person making the song. You might be making it with them, but they probably have the initial idea. They're just coming to you with it to bring it to life, And then as far as equipment goes, they make like little 2-track interfaces.
Yeah.
You can buy something like that. Buy a good mic is always kind of like the...
What mics do you recommend?
Yeah, what price range do you think you can get a mic?
For starting out, I'd say anywhere between $300 and $500 is going to be a good standard mic, and then whatever you do with your chain after that is going to be solid. But you do have other mics like SM57s, great mics. They use them to mic drums and everything else. They're great for vocals. They're great for instruments, great for everything. It's all in what you do inside the box and how your chain works. And those are like $99.
Yeah.
And they're made by Shure. They're made by a brand that everybody knows in the music industry and in podcast and in radio and everything else. Shure is kind of a big brand in that. Your equipment starting out is probably not going to be
that important, would you say?
It's not going to be that important. Your knowledge base is going to be more important.
Because we have that dude right there. He I don't know what it is, but like he never had anything to do with beats or anything, and he just the other day he was just playing on like an online one.
Yeah.
And he's like, bro, I love this shit. So he was like, he just texted me right now. He's like, ask him what type of shit he makes, you know?
Yeah.
So like, you got a lot of people like that just trying to get in. And I think if we have more people that are, man, because you got a lot of people that like, if I'm trying to get into beat making, let's say I'll hit up a producer and they're like, fuck off. Like, like, I don't want you to doing what I do. But I think if everybody's open and kind of, because shit, if he makes something good, that's something good for Bowling Green.
Yeah, you can
gotta
build
pick
off
up
each
everybody.
other.
Yeah, for sure. This industry is super competitive in even in the bigger realm too.
Yeah.
So it's, and plus when you get to a certain place, like a lot of the times when people hit you up and they say, I want to learn, you learn over time that most of the time they're not really serious.
Yeah, they want to learn.
like,
I feel like they want to learn like this instead of actually applying themselves and sitting down and listening to what you're saying.
They see their buddy doing it. They see, this dude was sitting in the studio smoking a blunt. He looks fucking lit.
Yeah. I want to
dope.
try it. Yeah.
That's all I say. That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
There's got to be more to it than that.
Yeah.
You really gotta apply yourself. I feel like that comes down to anything for real.
Yeah.
Like if you want to be something, like you gotta sit there and really submerge yourself into it, get lost in it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You pretty plugged into the artists around Bowling Green in this area. Who you think's up and coming? Not just Bowling Green, kind of Louisville, Nashville,
Kentucky area,
just this region.
Man. Oh man,
Not trying to put you on the spot, but like
I wouldn't say there's a lot, but there's a lot. Chap Steve,
yeah.
Of course. Benny, because he's got a good sound and he's got a budget. That's one of the big sides of it. Who else? AJ, Guap Freak. Man, there's so many artists.
Have you ever worked with a bigger artist like that kind of been out there already?
Stunner for Vegas. Yeah, Benny did that feature with Stunner for Vegas. Yeah. And then Hood Rich Pablo Juan. As far as producers go, we brought Ness in. Ness came and cooked up, 3-time Grammy winner. So I got to me and Ness actually cooked up the instrumental for the Hood Rich Pablo Juan feature. And Ness and Coach Cam, my other in-house producer and engineer, they cooked up some stuff that is gonna get some features as well. Cam's been working with some artists out of Louisville, and sending some stuff off. He's working on some big placements, that kind of thing too. So we got a lot of success coming through the studio as far as being able to work with bigger artists. For a long time, my mind was so focused on wanting to get out of where I was at, and grow and work with bigger artists. But I think the real success is going to be staying down with the guys that you're working with.
You ever think about doing something like Producer's Corner, what John Woo does up there? What kind of networking went into the studio?
I'd love to. Woo has talked about bringing Producer's Corner down here to Bowling Green a few times. We just haven't really been able to coordinate anything. But I mean, there's been a lot of ideas that people have already brought to life. I guess in my field, I'm kind of in a lane, and I don't want to step on any toes of what they're doing. I mean, I'm successful in my lane with what I'm doing, and I would love to be a part of what they're doing. So I'm always going to submerge myself into those things. Like the Producer Corner, we're going to one on the 27th. Yeah. Stacks on my birthday. So
sweet.
Yeah, we'll probably be there too.
Yeah, we will.
Yep.
We'll be there.
But yeah, we've definitely talked about doing something like that. Me and Cam talked about sitting down and doing a live, like a Facebook Live, Instagram Live kind of thing where producers can tap in, and if they have any type of questions about like doing anything, like creating a specific type of sound or just some technical stuff on how they can get stuff to sound better, whatever, we were going to give advice on that, and then review beats as well, review mixes.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Everything else, yeah.
Yeah, I think if we can get people to interact just in Bowling Green as well as online.
Just get on the technical side.
I feel like there's a lot of talent in Bowling Green. It's got to come together.
Yeah,
That's I think that's the biggest thing right now.
I think it's honestly it's Kentucky. It's Kentucky wide. I think so many people are focused on getting out.
Yeah.
That they don't see what's going on.
What's actually here?
What's
Yeah.
actually happening.
I agree.
Yeah. So, if they could, because you can blow up wherever you're at.
That is true.
So, they come together and really create a huge scene. Like people are gonna look at that.
Yeah.
Louisville's doing it.
They are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Jack Harlow.
Bowling Green, not so much.
I mean, it's gonna get there.
We're on the way
Hopefully.
up.
AJ's place, I will say they're doing some stuff down at AJ's place in Glasgow, and a lot of artists have been collabing and doing a bunch of shows out there and trying to build the scene out there, and they've been really consistent with it.
That's dope.
I'd like to see where that would go to.
Yeah. So that's kind of wrapping things up. We kind of covered all the topics. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little Timeless 10, which is same questions for everybody that comes on the show. It's quick, short answer questions.
Yeah.
And then after that, we'll break a clock.
Get
Which
you on
will
the
go on a
wall.
wall and then
Bet.
sign it and put a quote on it. You got a quote that's gonna go on the clock?
I could find one. I think I have one in my phone that I could use.
All right, cool.
Cool.
So we'll do that. Timeless 10, and then
Yeah.
we'll break the clock on air, and then we'll get you that.
All right, bro. I'm ready when you are.
I'm ready.
All right. If you had to work but didn't need the money, what would you choose to do?
Build houses.
Build
For real?
houses?
Work with my hands. Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like building furniture and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's the creative side of you. I can see that.
Yeah.
All right. If you could disinvent one thing, what would it be?
Sorry to say this, but clocks. I don't want to focus on time.
There you go.
I'm gonna take that one personally.
That's why we're breaking them.
timeless.
That's why we're breaking them.
Yeah,
Fuck 'em,
be
yeah.
timeless.
All right. If you could meet one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
Changes a lot for me. Abraham Lincoln. Yeah.
It's an interesting one.
All right. If you had all the money in the world, what would be your first purchase?
Probably some realty. Something that
Invest
something
money?
invest. Something like investment.
That wouldn't be mine. I'd splurge on some
I'd-
dope.
Well, oh, you said all the money in
Ignorance.
the world.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
had all the money in the
I'll
world.
get a chain or something.
Because I mean that.
You wouldn't need the money again.
Yeah, I wouldn't ever need it. Oh yeah,
Fuck
I'd
the
do
real
some
estate.
dumb. I'd do some dumb shit. Oh for sure. Hell yeah.
All right. If you had one piece of advice for the younger generation, what would it be?
Don't let the older generation keep you locked in a certain mindset. Traditional things aren't as important as you think they are. Respect is great for your elders, but don't let them put you in a box and let them.
I like that.
Hell
create
yeah.
expectations for your life.
I like that.
Yeah.
Boomers.
Huh?
It's the boomers.
Boomers.
All right. Who inspired you the most growing up?
Man, John Mayer.
John
John
Mayer.
Mayer. Fuck
Yeah, and Rick Rubin,
Great
That's my
artist.
guy. All right. Who's your favorite artist right now?
the baby.
The baby.
What would you say the most common reason people give up is?
They already had that mentality. Yeah.
To quit it from
They
the
already
beginning?
had- quit
Yeah.
from the beginning. Yep.
Like it. All right. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Walk through walls because I'm lazy as fuck.
We're all the way over there, bro.
You can do all the shit in the world. You can fly.
My man. I got to be over there, but the door that way. So, all right. And last one. What's one thing you can't live without? A material item.
Like if you packing your shit going to, let's say, across the world, what you packing that's always come with you?
A lighter.
A lighter? Hell yeah.
It's multi-use.
All right, man.
I appreciate you coming on the podcast, bro.
Yes, man.
We're gonna
Hell yeah.
Break that clock.
we're gonna break that clock, and then after the cameras are off, we'll clean it up, and then we'll get you to sign.
Yeah.
That's a bet. Sounds good.
Let's get it. You want some glasses? Or did you break them?
He ain't no pussy.
Some meme goggles.
Plastic, right?
Nah, it's
Maybe.
glass.
it's
glass.
Hey, make sure the glass don't go in your Red Bull.
Oh yeah.
Try to slip on that.
Man, get over, pussy.
Fuck you. Last
Yeah,
time I got
that
it, I got-
shit fly.
Just watch your shit.
Just however you want.
hard you hit it.
All right.
Yes,
like it.
sir.
Fucking break.
That was a good hit.
Appreciate you coming, bro.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Thank you guys. Appreciate y'all.